good?
Mhm.
I'm going in here for a sec. I'll be back.
Sure.
Just a general notice for members, just make sure that your microphones are on shout so you can hear me and I can hear you. We'll start this trial very shortly in the case
You need to go sit down. It's starting now.
in the case of the Crown v. Rafassie. Court will come to session on the 8th of February 2025 at 3:47 p.m. in the trial of the Crown v. Mr. Rafassie. Would the prosecution please approach the stand? Could the prosecution please state out his name and rank?
Name James Woods, Senior Constable.
Mr. Woods, as the lead prosecutor, can you please lay out the charges you allege against the accused?
First charge being indictable possession, carriage, or use of a Category H handgun without a license or unregistered firearm. Second count, indictable discharge of a firearm in a public place or discharge in a reckless manner.
Very well, you may return back to your desk. Could the accused please approach the stand?
Hello, Your Honour.
Before we proceed, you are well aware that you are self-representing yourself in this criminal trial, and you cannot use that excuse for any adverse reasons on the grounds of appeal. Are you aware of that?
I'm aware of that.
Very well. Mr. Rafassie, on count 1, indictable possession, carriage of use of a Category H handgun without a license or / unregistered firearm, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Yeah, I plead guilty for that one.
Very well. On count 2, indictable discharge of a firearm in a public place / discharging in a reckless manner times 1. Mr. Rafassie, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Very well. The charges on question for today will be the single count of discharging in a discharge of a firearm in a public place / discharging in a reckless manner. You may return back to your seat.
Thanks, Your Honour.
Could the prosecution please approach the stand and set out your opening statements?
Your Honour, on the 8th of the 2nd, 2025 at approximately 3:30 p.m, Mr. Rafassie was witnessed by 3 officers discharging a firearm next to the Vespucci 900 police station in front of Burger Shop. I believe in body cam 1, where it begins the start of the incident, you can observe the individual discharging his firearm as the officers then began to approach the individual, where he then got into a vehicle. An officer approached him, asked questions. The individual then complied and stayed in the vehicle, and asked about the individual. He complied. He then got out of the vehicle. He was then placed in handcuffs. Handcuffs were placed on him. He was then transported to the station that was right next to him, which was Vespucci 900. And that's where the charges of the 2 charges were then laid account onto him.
Is that all, Mr. Prosecutor?
That is all.
You may return back to your desk. Could the accused approach the stand and lay out your opening statements in relation to the count that you are being alleged with?
So, what actually happened? I was transporting my weapon to my car, and some guy, don't know his name, don't know what he said to me, or don't know how he knows me, ran me over with his car while I was crossing the road. I proceeded to take out my weapon and fire 10 shots at him. Because after he backed up, he said, "I'm going to kill you." And I thought he was backing up to run me over again. So I shot 10 bullets at him, and I claim it's self-defense, not what he ever said.
So by and large, You are admitting that you did discharge of a firearm in the public place?
As self-defense, yes, Your Honor.
In the city of Melbourne, self-defense is not a valid excuse of discharging a firearm in a public place. Are you aware of that?
I am. But so a guy running me over, threatening my life, I'm just supposed to let that happen?
Regardless of what your opinion is, you are aware, to your previous statement, that you did indeed know that using a gun is not qualification for self-defense. And regardless of what happens, the law is clear, the statutes are clear, the common law is clear. Are you aware of what you've just said?
Yep. I have a question. So, in the case that a guy runs me over and let's say I didn't shoot at him, what am I supposed to do?
Regardless
Just
of
let it.
regardless of the qualifications that's being pushed forward, you're not allowed to use a firearm because in hindsight, when you do own a pistol, it should be in a glove box or in a residential property in a proper gun safe. In theory, you shouldn't be able to technically respond in time to obtain the glove box unless you've actually had the gun on your person to begin with.
So, like I said, because one of these officers said it's legal for me to take it from my safe towards my car. That's what I was doing, and I've said that before. So it was on me getting relocated into my glove box. That's why I had it on me as self-defense use. I've only used it once, and that's it. I used it in self-defense.
You may return back to your desk. For the prosecution, please approach the stand and deliver their remarks in relation to the singular count of indictable discharge of a firearm in a public place.
Pardon, what was that, Your Honour?
You may begin with your remarks in relation to the count of discharge of a firearm in a public place.
As stated previously, on the 8th of the 2nd, 2025, at 3:30 p.m, the individual was observed shooting a firearm. In body cam 2, the individual admits and agrees that he was discharging his firearm and did indeed shoot towards someone. In photo 5 of the evidence report, there is clearly a photo of the firearm itself with the ammunition for the gun. Adding on to what the suspect said earlier, when transporting a gun to and from vehicles and houses, guns must remain empty from the clip, and these firearms must not obtain any sort of ammunition within the gun, as that can be committed as a crime. When transporting your gun to and from a car, it must remain empty via magazine and the actual casing itself. One second. That's all I got to say, Your Honour.
Very well, you may turn back to your desk. Could the accused please approach the stand and deliver any remarks in relation to that offence, unless if you wish to use your statements in relation to earlier as the defence for that charge.
Can you repeat that, please, Your Honor?
Do you have any remarks in relation to the charge of indictable discharge of a firearm in a public place, or are you willing to use your statements earlier in relation for that offence?
Can I just add something on?
Absolutely.
I did not know it's a law to have your firearm loaded, so yeah, that's all I got to add.
Very well. You may turn back to your desk. Given the fact the accused has pled guilty to the single count of possession, carriage of use of a Category H handgun without a license, we will move now to closing statements. Could the prosecution please approach the stand and deliver any remarks in relation to that? Deliver any closing remarks in relation to this case.
Your Honour, the closing statement for Melbourne Police is, as our client has stated multiple times, the body cams that we have submitted towards you today, he has agreed that he charged a firearm also today in front of you in the courtroom, that he did discharge his firearm in a self-defense manner. However, as he was aware, self-defense is just not, really worried about here. It is not really a law. No self-defense. It's you shoot, it's your problem. What did I say?
Very well. Could the accused please approach the stand and deliver any closing remarks in relation to this case?
So, sir, what I'm hearing is if some guy is threatening my life, I have to let him do it. And then if he goes through with the threats, I have to call you guys when I'm injured. Is that what I'm hearing?
If you're trying to ask questions to the bench, I can guarantee it's not going to be the best answer. But statute law is something that's determined way above my pay grade, and I
Access our phones and other devices.
And apparently I'm now speaking on a microphone. What the fuck?
Yeah, because you walk near the podium.
what we will do though, we will go back in session briefly. So court will be back in session on the 8th of February 2025. It's at 4:10 p.m.
Add another charge. Are you trying to bribe me?
Amy,
No, what
come
the
on.
Are you trying
hell?
to bribe me here?
Amy's trying to bribe
The
me.
accused. Oh, there we go. To the accused, before we go back into session, do you have any other things you wish to say in your closing statement?
I don't think so. So, no.
But for your regard, you're not to be discharging a firearm in public place. On clarification, that is determined way above my pay grade. I interpret on statute law and subsequently common law as per past and previous cases.
So I gotta call you guys after I've been attacked.
Yes, you should be contacting any. You are not a vigilante. You are not to be taking matters into your own hands. We have a beautiful, dedicated police force for a reason. Utilize them.
Okay, but if someone's trying to kill me,
Then you get out of the way.
if he's backing up to run me over again,
Tony.
If someone is randomly going to run you over, that is a matter for those people above, not to be dealt here.
That's what you do. That's why we send prayers up.
Yeah, that's why we have prayers. You know, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
I ain't no snitch. You got it.
Well, in that case, there's nothing I can do about it.
Anyway,
So
we'll see you
what you're
guys
telling
later,
me-
Tsunami.
we'll be
Physically
back
do
into
for you.
recess.
So you're telling me I gotta call you guys after I've been in the hospital and shit like that?
Yes.
Nice.
If there's a way for you to contact us before.
We
My bad.
We will finish this quote unquote shit factory. End quote. Court will be back in session on the 8th of February 2025 at 4:41 p.m. We will begin with my comment. Just going to verify with the accused. You have nothing else you wish to add further to this criminal case? I cannot hear you.
Talking to me?
I cannot hear you. Please go on chat.
I am on shout.
You're very quiet.
Can you hear me better now?
It will be fine. Anything else to add to your case, or is that all?
I've just got a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, like we were talking before about how I have to call the police after, and you made a comment about call them during the situation that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's say I'm getting ran over. Am I supposed to take out my phone while let's say I have a broken arm? Am I supposed to take out my phone while injured when I could have just self-defended and helped myself?
Regardless, as I've said before, self-defense laws do exist, but not to the extent of using a firearm. You are well aware of those conditions under the acquisition of a firearm, assuming you have a license, and in that regard, there is nothing.
I don't have a license.
Damn.
Yeah, that officer
just
should have told you.
I'm just going to pretend that those words never came out of your mouth. But as far as the law is concerned, there is nothing suggesting that you can ever use a firearm to defend yourself.
So,
Any hypothetical which has an adverse outcome on you is totally possible.
so I need to call the police mid-attack, assuming they'll come in time, which they never do.
If you are injured, you shouldn't be able to ring the police or self-defend yourself, at least in that regard. And if someone is intentionally running you over, driving back and forth, as long as you have sufficient evidence of the fact, that becomes an issue outside of my control. That goes straight to those people above.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but let's say I'm getting run over and I'm not injured yet, and I can prevent it by helping myself or calling the police, assuming they'll be there in time. And if they're not, then I could have prevented it by self-defending. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that's
get your
what I
perspective, believe
did
me,
in
I
my
understand your
situation.
perspective. Yeah, no, I understand your perspective, but the law is clear in this regard. If you decide to self-defend yourself using a firearm, there will be consequences, and it's no excuse in the city as a clause for such qualification.
Yeah. Okay. We're not getting anywhere with this.
Again, no, I understand your perspective, but again, we're going to go back in circles when it comes to the law, and there's nothing I can do about it.
We can move on.
Mr. Could the accused please approach the stand? The accused, Mr. Rafassie, can you please approach the stand?
Come up to the stand, you said?
Yes. Mr. Rafassie, you've already pled guilty to the singular count of the possession of the Category H firearm. On count 2 of the indictment, discharge of the said firearm in a public place, I will find you guilty on that second count. Given the extended delays, however, I am inclined to offer a 20% reduction, and that will be all. Court is adjourned.